Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to show you how I made my Boba Fett helmet. This took me close to a month to make, but I am very proud of it. And it has a light up rangefinder, and it also moves down. At the end of the video, I'll show you the light up part in more detail, but let's get right into the video. Okay guys, so right here we have some of the templates to get Boba Fett started. So this is the piece with the rangefinder. So it has a hole cut into it, and this part extends back. And on this one, it doesn't have the rangefinder, so it's rounded off. And then this piece just goes right there, giving a little bit of a gap that will connect to this piece. So let's get right to a time lapse of gluing stuff together. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm doing is gluing on those two face plates. So we have the one with the extension, one without. Then I'm adding a support in the middle of them, and then a support for the actual visor. Then I'm starting to work on the cheek, so it's just 3 templates that I glued together. Okay guys, so the main front of Boba Fett's done. Now we're gonna start on the back. So I have the 2 main back plates, and then we're gonna work on the vent. So let's go. Okay guys, so the back plate is in 2 pieces that meet in the middle, very similar to the face plate. And then when I'm done with that, I went ahead and I filled in the back. You could just get away with putting just 1 flat piece of cardboard on it, but I actually made it indent because I didn't know how I would do the vent. But just next time, just have it flat, because the vent sits on the outside of the helmet, not inside. Okay guys, so the back plate's all made, and here we have the pieces for the vent. So this is the frame, and then it goes on top of all these little pieces. So let's get into a time lapse of gluing all these together. Okay guys, so this is what I mean when it went on the outside. When I glued everything together, what you see is I just glue it on to the actual outside of the helmet. I don't put it inside the hole I made. I could probably do it if I made it a little smaller, but I like how it turned out. So when that is done, I'm starting to work on the dome. So I'm cutting those 4 segments out, and then I'm going to be adding the dome support, which are 2 half ovals that fit together with a little slot in the center. You'll see in a minute, but just the X-Acto blade, be very careful, I almost cut myself. And then right here is where you see the dome supports. Gonna trim them till it looks good, and then I'm going to be gluing them on top of the helmet. Okay guys, so the main bottom of the helmet's done. So what I have is the main dome strip, which I used for my last video, and then I have these 2 triangles cut out for the details in front. So I'm going to glue this on and then start working on the rest of the dome. Okay, so I have the main dome strip. I'm stretching it all the way from the front and gluing it down, adding some little bit of support, and then gluing it on to the back. Then I'm going to add the segments that stretch from the middle down to the main helmet. Just 2 of them, 1 on each side. And then just make sure to follow that dome support. And then right here you see I am just gluing together all the darts for that piece in between. So I am gluing it down and then trimming it. So we have one of the sections done. So I showed you how to make this piece, and these pieces I just filled in. And then for the little dent, or not so little dent, I just cut a hole with my X-Acto knife, and then I put a thin piece of cardboard inside and kind of shaped it into a bowl. But now we have to start working on all the other sections. So let's go. Okay, so I am gluing in all of the different bands across the outside. Then I'm holding up a piece of cardboard inside the helmet, and then I'm tracing the shape and then cutting it out and then gluing it in. So for every dome segment, there is 1 of the main bands and then 2 of the little triangles that fill in the gaps. So a total of 4 main bands and 8 of the smaller triangles. But those you can't make. You have to use the helmet, and that's how you make them. Put it on the inside, and then you trace it out, and that's what makes it very smooth. And then just take your time, and then trust me, it will turn out well. And right here,
I am starting to work on all the details. So this is that one ear that I made 2 of them, and then I cut it in half.
So this is the ear I showed you to make, and then what I did, I remade this, but cut it into smaller sections, and then made this. So the only difference is I made this piece right here, so just a 2-layer of cardboard that I stacked together, and then a little triangle on the bottom. And on this one, very similar to this, have that shape there, and then instead of this flat shape, I have this little C shape. And then now what I'm going to work on is the rangefinder. So we have the main pivot point right there, and then we have a wooden dowel that can come down. And these are some of the pieces I have for the rangefinder. So the reason there's a hole cut in there is the holographic screen, and for that I'm going to be using some window tint, and to make it see-through, I have a little light that I'm going to put in that will shine and hopefully look good. So what I want to do is start gluing together the rangefinder. Let's go.
Okay guys, so what I'm doing, I just have all the templates. I am gluing everything together, and then I am making the little draw for the light inside. So one end is open and the light just slides in. You'll get a better look at it in a minute. And then I cut a hole in the rangefinder and cut a hole in the piece that holds the light, so I could add the little bit of window tint that gives it the green look. And then when I'm done with it, I'm going to be drawing on a little design. So now it is time to resin the helmet. So this makes the helmet a little stronger. So I'm mixing 1-to-1 part, and then I'm mixing it in a cup, and then I'm spreading it all over the helmet. This took approximately 30 minutes, and I did a total of 3 coats, 2 on the outside and 1 on the inside. So I did it on the helmet and all the little details.
Hey guys, so what I did, I resined the helmet again. You see I have all the details. Now what I'm going to do is use spackle and start covering and smoothing the helmet. So let's go.
Okay guys, so I am just taking the spackle and rubbing it all over the helmet. So there's not a lot to explain here, just getting it into all the cracks, trying to put it on thick but not too thick, just enough so when I sand it, it won't come through, and if it does, I would just need to add more spackle on top of that area. So as you see, it's very repetitive, just putting it on your finger and smoothing it out. And then it is time to sand the helmet. So I am using 2 different grits, one I think it was 80 grit and then 320, just to get it as smooth as possible. 80 grit takes down all the bumps, and then the higher grit smooths it out and makes it a lot smoother. And then when you're done with that, I am going to be using filler primer. And what that does, it's a thick spray paint. It fills in some of the imperfections, like also the small little holes that you can't see. And it shows you where work still needs to be done on the helmet.
Okay guys, so the helmet has the first layer of spackle down. So it looks pretty good, but it still can use a little bit of work. So I'm gonna keep doing this process over and over again. Gonna insert a few clips right here. So let's get some work done.
Here I'm doing the same thing, just adding more spackle to all the areas that need it. So I finished sanding the helmet, and then what I did, I put on the base green for the cheeks, so I'm going to mask them off so we can continue painting. Okay guys, so right now I'm starting to airbrush. So right now I am doing the red on the visor and the piece that goes all the way back and the back vent. So after that I am going to start airbrushing the green on, which you will see in 1 minute. But here you see I'm airbrushing the vent and that back little brim. Then right here, this isn't actually the right color. I'll be showing you all the right colors at the end of the video. I'm airbrushing it, but later I will change the color to a spray paint. Again, I'll show you later. But just make sure to do your research before you start painting, unlike what I did. Okay guys, so the main helmet's painted.
Now what I'm gonna do is mask it off and paint all the details. Let's go.
Okay guys, so right here I am just masking off all of the stripes. I looked it up, there's a total of 14 of these stripes. So I'm masking the bottom, masking the lines, and then masking the top of them. Then I am going to airbrush them the right color. It's an orangish yellow, closer to orange though.
Okay guys, so
A little
all the
darker than
pieces
what
are
I did.
masked up. So all of the stripes are going to be painted orange. This right now is going to be painted silver. This is going to be painted silver. This is going to be leaving like this. There's just a little black detail there. This is all going to be painted silver as well with this. Then we're going to mask off these details and paint them black again. And this is the last color on the helmet, the orange. So I'm going to airbrush that quickly. So let's go. So the first layer of paint is on the little detail pieces. Now what I'm going to do, mask it off, paint it black. Then after the paint is drying, I just airbrush the cheeks. And then after, we can start working on all of the weathering.
Okay guys, so now that I fixed the colors, it's time to weathering. And this is what I do for all my weathering with the silver chip. So what I do, I go where I want and I use black paint. Before I use the silver, it just makes the silver pop way more. So I'm doing this looking at the trailers for reference, just to get all the
So
accurate.
wherever there is black, I'm gonna go over it with silver. This is just giving it a nice base coat. Have it on all of the ear details, and then on this I'm just going to dry brush it. So let's do that.
Okay guys, so now that the base coat's on, I am going back and adding all the silver chip marks. So it's very simple now that I'm just going over everywhere that I marked out. So that is it.
Okay guys, so all the pieces are done. The last piece I did was the rangefinder. So this is how it looks inside the rangefinder. So now it's the last step. Time to put in the visor and glue everything together. Let's go. Okay guys, so these are all the correct colors I use for boba. For the main visor and the wrap brown detail, I use this matte red pepper. Works very well. For the main dome and cheeks, I use this matte Spanish moss. All these are the Krylon brand. I got this one at Walmart, and the red I had left over from the Bad Batch. And then the final color I got at Ace Hardware was the Spanish moss. The Spanish moss is this back plate, but this, try to find it in matte, not gloss, but it will work. So let's get right into the outro. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video of how I made my Boba Fett helmet. I'm very proud of this, and I do have some future builds planned for the Book of Boba Fett, so if you want to see those, make sure you subscribe so you won't miss out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.